Hello. Well, sleeping cat. Better get on with it. And hello, good morning. It's a beautiful day here in London when we're all still locked up. The Office for National Statistics figures for deaths is now hit a 20-year high, which is obviously really sad, and it's terrible. But the good news, or depending on your point of view, it's not bad news, it's good news, of course, that the Imperial College London projections were off by several orders of magnitude, incredibly smaller percentage of deaths than was used as a pretext to implement these draconian lockdown measures. And I think this has been seen quite widely across the world. My concern is that projections, which have thankfully turned out to be untrue by many times over, were used as a pretext to basically put everyone under house arrest. And in the UK, we've got another 3 weeks at least. We don't know when. They're saying that perhaps pubs won't open till December. This is absolute economic disaster. It's thousands of millions, potentially billions of people's livelihoods will be ruined indefinitely. I mean, this is just a catastrophe for the world, I think. And I think it's incredibly important to really scrutinise these measures, see whether I don't know how to think about it, really. I mean, I suppose it'll be interesting to see what happens in Sweden, and presumably if Sweden doesn't suffer terrible catastrophe, we'll be saying, well, why the hell did we burn down the world's economy when we didn't need to? I mean, surely that will be the question on everyone's lips. I think it'll still be spun as, well, Sweden, carried out a dangerous experiment. We didn't know. We still don't know the effects that the lockdowns had. Perhaps they saved a lot of lives, and I think that'll be how it's spun. But in my estimation, my gut feeling, and the reading I've been doing, and just looking at the numbers, it just doesn't make sense, and it creates a terrible precedent. It's like, well, is the government just going to be able to do this again? Well, yeah, I think they are. Like, democratic freedoms have to be maintained and sustained. They don't just automatically remain. We have to dissent, and we have to scrutinise government policy very, very carefully. So I think this is a time to come together and talk about these things. And of course we can't come together because we're not physically allowed to, but we can come together digitally. And I think it's incredibly important to talk about these issues and figure out what's going on. And I feel like I need to suffix this or preface it with saying that, or put an addendum in there and just say, look, I am, of course, supportive of all our doctors and nurses working for the NHS. No, I don't want to kill old people. I'm just very concerned about the impact these measures has. I mean, even the graph I was reading today on the BBC website was showing extra deaths, above and beyond what we'd expect at this time of the year. And about 25% of those deaths were not attributed to COVID, and this is even considering the very dubious method of, counting COVID deaths as COVID deaths when they're dying with COVID. And if you look at the newspaper articles, they're saying with COVID, not of COVID. And even considering that, a lot of the deaths are, I would say, can be directly attributed to lockdown. They are lockdown deaths. And this is something that's now, that's happening right now, and that really needs to be addressed. It seems almost impossible to address it without someone jumping down your throat and saying, how dare you criticise the government? We need to all come together at this difficult time. And I agree, we do need to come together at this difficult time. We also need to not burn down the world in the process of trying to survive. And that's my perspective, but I know other people have different perspectives. But we need to be open about talking about these things and not just close ourselves off and say, well, I think part of my huge problem with this in the UK is the lack of transparency from the government, because they say stay at home, save lives, protect the NHS, don't go out, anyone could spread it. This is not transparency. What is your plan? Like the plan in, like, at least in Sweden, they're saying, okay, we're asking, for the first time in living memory, we're asking our citizens to do something incredibly extraordinary. We're asking you to please, we're not putting in draconian measures, but we're asking you to please not socialise. Now, that's extraordinary, but they're explaining why they're doing it. They have numbers. Okay, here are the ICU beds, figures for today. This is what we need to try and aim for, blah, blah, blah. In England, nothing. We don't know what the hell's going on back there. For all I know, they don't know, which is, I suspect, possibly they don't know. It's like, we did this crazy thing. Now we don't really know what to do about it now. It's like, when are we going to get back to work? Well, is there going to be a work to go back to? Are there going to be, I saw some, I don't know. It really gets me, my goat. Like, I saw the papers just really annoy me, because saying like, yeah, well, we have to do what's right. We have to fight this thing. We're not fighting it. There's no fight here. Like, we're killing our economy, and we're not. We don't know what we're doing. Like, if we need to, we might have to keep everything shut till December. Well, that's a small price to pay. Pay for what? Where's the data? Where's the facts that this is efficacious? We don't know. Mass quarantines, which aren't total, and of course they're not total because people still go out, the post gets delivered, are not provenly efficacious. So we need to, figure out if it's worth, day after day, burning down our economy. And I can't see that it is, especially when it's causing all kinds of other health problems, people with heart attacks not going to hospital, mental health epidemics, all kinds of knock-on effects, which will be vast. And